Action item G2, approve the 2013-2014 operating capital deferred maintenance budget and projects. Ms. Harrington.
Okay, so this is the part where we're looking at the budget and the projects for next year, and this relates to the capital projects. Now, at the last meeting, you'd already approved some of the projects on this list, 3 of the roofing projects and the middle school science remodel. So what I want to let you know is the Buildings and Grounds Committee met on April 3rd, and we discussed the budget for next year. We are expected to start the year with about $38,000 in fund balance for operating capital and deferred maintenance. And right now, before legislation has happened, we are projecting $1.3 million in revenue and about $1.3 million in expenditures. We will be deficit spending about $14,000. The projects that we have come to a total of $971,000, and they include the roofs, the middle school remodel, carpeting at Roosevelt and the senior high, windows at Kennedy, middle school tennis court resurfacing, work at Hodap Stadium, irrigation work at the middle school. There's other things on this list. There's other smaller projects on this list, and that was included in your board packet, and that's also online for anyone else that wants to see that. Building principals get allocations of about $113,000, and that's to spend at their discretion at the buildings for their different capital needs that they might have that are on a smaller scale. And then we pay street and other assessments, so we're still paying for the Roosevelt Road. That's about $46,000. And then we have non-iPad leases for hockey rink and some equipment, Lakeview, and golf course. There might be a change in our Lakeview lease. We might be leasing a slightly different space out at Midwest, but for now we're assuming that it's going to continue as is. So that's about $83,000. And then iPad leases come to about $133,000. That includes the one-to-ones and our original iPad lease for some elementary and senior high iPads. So one-to-one, at least for this year, the one-to-one iPad lease for 10th grade will come out of the general fund. And then in the future, we'll do slightly less capital projects, and so we'll pick up that lease in operating capital. Plus, we may end up with some more revenue. So the Buildings and Grounds Committee is recommending that you approve the capital projects for 2013-14.
Is there a motion to approve that action item?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Further discussion?
I was curious to know if there was anything that didn't make the list, Pam.
There's quite a few things that didn't make the list.
What were you concerned that did not make the list?
I'm not concerned about anything that didn't make the list, I guess. There's lots of principals that are concerned, but basically what it is we have a fixed amount of money, and I go out and I meet with all of the groups. So I meet with principals, head custodians, I meet with the director of technology, our coordinator of buildings and grounds comes out, met with the AD this year, and some of the head custodians around that type of work. But there are always things every single year that people want funded that we can't fund. Okay. There was some ventilation work at the middle school that wasn't able to be funded this year. There was another project at Roosevelt that we took off the list, and we took the front doors off of Kennedy. That came off the list. So it's in a big database, and so they continue to be monitored and they continue to come up, but there's only a fixed amount of money.
I know ventilation at the middle school is an issue.
The way you triage it, it's unfortunately it's the way it has to be, but it'll be a lower priority because I've seen some projects that have taken 2 to 3 years to kind of bubble up finally when unfortunately it becomes their time, and that might push another one down.
Yeah, and the nice thing is everyone gets input, so the sites get input, they get to list their projects, and then they get to prioritize their own projects. And so they tell me, I tell them, if you only get one project, which one would it be? And so they prioritize that way, and then I go back as a district and look at the district needs, and then we further prioritize from there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Other questions? There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action item carries. Action item G3, resolution placing a tenured teacher on unrequested leave. Ms. Fisher.
All right, so this is the final step of the unrequested leave process. Just placing this teacher, Joel Brinkman, just on unrequested leave for a portion of his contract. Keep in mind he's still over the 1.0, so well above. He's still got to get an additional 30 minutes per day. We're just reducing the extra days. So we would recommend approval on that as well.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Further discussion?
Just a reminder,
So roll call.
this is his suggestion.
Roll call, Ms. Harrington?
Okay, Mike Carlson,
Aye.
Dan Kroonquist,
Aye.
Linda Mathiasen,
Aye.
Mike Reynolds. Jackie Salisbury,
Aye.
Nate Street,
Aye.
Liz Vanderbilt. Aye. Passes 7-0.
Moving on to action item G4, resolution relating to the reduction of non-certified positions. Ms. Fisher?
All right, so these two positions are funded with, I believe it's migrant outreach funding. And we're just not sure at this point if we're going to get that funding for next year. So as precautionary, obviously we want to cut, and if we get the money, then the goal is to bring it back. So we would recommend approval on that reduction as well.
Okay, is there a motion to approve action item G4?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
When, do we know roughly the timeline when we will hear? As far as the
It should
funding
be in the next month.
Okay.
But that program, that whole migrant program is being looked at.
goes? Right.
And so the state's waiting to hear from the feds. And so we kind of rolled down that.
Okay.
And is this different than our community liaisons we have for elementary schools?
Yes, this is different.
Further questions or discussion? Roll call, Ms. Harrington?
Dan Kroonquist,
Aye.
Linda Mathiasen,
Aye.
Mike Reynolds,
Aye.
Jackie Salisbury,
Aye.
Nate Street,
Aye.
Liz Vanderbilt. Aye. And Mike Carlson.
Aye.
That passes 7-0.
On to action item G5, approve the school meal price increase for K through 5 to $1.90, and grades 6 through 12 to $2.05, and breakfast meal price increase for grades 9 through 12 to $1.25 or $1.25 for 2013-2014. Ms. Harrington, I do not see that,
Nope,
so
it's
you
just
are
me.
on.
Okay, I'll explain the breakfast one first, and the reason it's only grades 9 through 12 is that K through 8 is free for breakfast. 9 through 12, we're looking to go up 10 cents to $1.25. We're trying to keep going with inflation, and so that we're able to offer the menu items that the students want. At this point, we're getting really close where there's some items that just because of what we're charging, we're not able to offer the students. So that's the rationale for the breakfast increase. For the lunch increase, and this is going to be a big, long thing, but there's an interim rule, and it's a federal rule, and it's the National School Lunch Program, School Food Service Account Revenue Amendments related to Healthy and Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. So that rule requires us to do a whole bunch of calculations. Basically, it says that districts that are charging less than a weighted average lunch price of $2.59 per student for paid lunches need to raise their price. And what they'd like us to do is raise our prices all the way up to $2.59 per meal. But they also realize that's not realistic. So we go through a calculation, and there's a max cap. So for us, we would really need to raise our prices 64 cents to 79 cents per meal, but they cap it at 10 cents. So that's why we're looking at raising the meal price from $1.80 for K5 to $1.90, and from $1.95 for 612 to $2.05. And basically, if we don't do this, we're risking our federal funding.
Which
And
is
how
what?
big of a risk is that?
Quite a big risk for this. We get reimbursed quite a bit for paid programs, for federal programs. We get, I want to say, I don't know the exact dollar amounts, but it's close to $2. It's about between $1.40 and $2 per meal, depending on the different tier of the meal. So that's pretty significant for our food service program.
I've had a lot of families contact me, very concerned about when they read it on our agenda on Saturday in the paper. And so if we continue this track to get up to $2.59, enabling us to only increase it 10 cents per year, that means for the next 8 years, our family should start budgeting to have a 10-cent increase each year.
That would be accurate. And when we look at the meals, it's about $17.40 for the entire year.
Per child.
That's the increase per child, is 17, if they eat every single day and they eat a paid meal.
Yep.
Because reduced isn't going up and free isn't going up. So it hits that paid category.
So what, the reduced, why is that not going up?
Because
I'm not free, why isn't reduced going up a percentage as well?
Because that, I believe that the way those meals are is that it's set by the feds on what we can charge, what we charge for that.
Okay.
I'll have to double check that reduced price with Annette. But they basically don't want us to use our free and what we get reimbursed for free and reduced lunches from the feds and from the state. They don't want us to use that to fund paid lunches. And so right now, we do you're using a portion of that.
Right, because you get that
Unless you're
total
hitting
lump sum.
that. Exactly.
Offsets total expenses.
Exactly.
I would be curious to I understand the free part, but I'd be curious on the clarification on the reduced.
I will get you that information.
Okay.
And portions will not be increasing as a result.
The portions are gonna follow the healthy.
Federally
and
mandated.
Hunger-free, yep.
So
That's gonna
kids
follow.
are hungry, we're gonna charge them more,
I
and
think
feed
that
them
we gotta be, I
less.
think we gotta be clear though, that we make sure people understand that this is not a decision, a local decision.
Right.
This is a federal decision.
Right.
And if I understand the law right, if we would opt out of something like this,
Our meals
we
could be
have no
much.
free and reduced, we have no,
There's severe
it's all gone.
consequences. Yes.
it's full price for everyone. So, I know people get upset about this and it's easy to get angry at our food service. But in reality, our food service is doing exactly what they're told to do. And what we're doing is following the mandates from them. Nobody likes to see them go up, but just so people understand, this is another one of those, it's not a local decision. It's coming
Contact
down
your-
to us. Contact.
Your federal representative.
Right, and as far as the food goes, our food service department is looked at somewhat as a model for other districts because of the hard work they've put in to coming up with meals that kids want to eat and just what we offer. We constantly get calls from other districts, and MDE constantly pulls us out as a model for, if you're going to implement this is a great way to do it.
And yet, that 50 cents is one less of these a week. If you, or, could be less.
But I heard from families who are right on the brink of qualifying for free and reduced, and that's somewhere they didn't want to go. They didn't want to all of a sudden become eligible for free and reduced. They wanted to stay where they were at. And where the current prices were, they would not have to be as worried qualifying for free and reduced. And so I think we need to support that population of people who want to continue to pay on their own. And that was their concern. And I heard from at least 2 families with that concern.
Was there a motion? Did I hear a motion already or no? So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? Otherwise, all in favor of approving the school meal price increase for K through 5 and to $1.90 and grades 6 through 12 to $2.05, and breakfast meal price increase for grades 9 through 12 to $1.25 for 2013-2014. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action carries.
Pam, could you just get me just have Annette follow up on one thing? I'm just kind of curious of what our breakfast participation is at the senior high.
Sure.
It's
Actually,
increasing.
actually, Annette will be here at the last work session of the year,
Okay.
and
Just kind of curious where that falls in when it goes from, when they don't have to pay anything to where, they do have to chip in a little bit if we see participation drop.
Okay.
could you ask her to talk about it when she's here for the work session?
I will do that.
Will that be okay?
It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, action item G6, extracurricular co-op request from Community Christian School, Dr. Kiergaard.
The letter from the administrator of Community Christian is included in your packet, and he is absolutely correct. The past policy of Willmar Public Schools has been to refuse to participate in any cooperatives. In fact, the one time that it did come to the board's directive to me was, if they go to school here, they can play sports here. So my recommendation is not to approve it because there could be some negative impact on our programs, plus it's historically been something that this district has chosen not to do.
If I may, I'm just going to read Mr. Chapin's letter, so that may be watching Hear the request. As Community Christian High School continues to grow, we are interested in providing more extracurricular activities for our students. We plan to continue to develop our own volleyball, soccer, cross-country, basketball, debate, speech, one-act play, track, golf, baseball, and tennis programs. We are pursuing developing cooperatives for the following sports which we are unable to offer this time: football, wrestling, hockey, swimming, and gymnastics, and softball. They have been approached by other area districts regarding possible cooperatives. However, with the vast majority of our students living within the Willmar School District or nearby along Highway 23 corridor towards Paynesville, we have the proximity factor as well as a friendship between CCS and Willmar students. And it goes on. But the gist of it is they're asking to participate in certain sports, but not all sports. I just wanted to clarify that for those who may be watching.
There also was a process that in the past we had kind of developed. And what happened was we developed a protocol, and that's part of the packet, but it never got to the point where there was a board policy that was approved. Okay? I'm not sure. My secretary and I talked about why there was no policy, and neither one of us really understand why.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve action item G6?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
What?
What was the motion?
Yeah, what is the?
The motion is to-
How's G6 word? I don't remember.
To deny the letter,
Oh,
Yeah.
the co-op request.
okay.
Further discussion?
Currently in these sports listed, do we have a problem finding enough students within our district to fill the slots?
Brian?
Mr. Blahowski?
Not for the equivalent program with the conference that we're in.
So we have enough students currently to field the teams and with reserves?
Yes.
Okay.
The thing that I struggle with is kind of picking and choosing which sports to do it and not do it with. And yet, at the same time, I enroll my kids in a district, whether it's Willmar, whether it's Kirkhope, Northern Spice, or a community Christian school, because there's certain values and certain benefits by being in that district. And I think one of those values that we are able to offer is all of our extracurriculars. Instead of picking and choosing and saying, well, you have a great debate program, so I want to go to London, or you have this or that, so I want to go to Kirkhope. You kind of get the package, and our package is for our students. And how do we pick and choose who our students are? And that's, I guess, my feeling on.
And Nate, you're right. I mean, Mike's been on this before, and I've been on it a few times before, and this has come before this board, and that's actually how it comes, what it comes down to at the end. I mean, we have our program, the good, the bad, the pluses, the minuses, and every other school has their programs, and you pick which one is right for you.
And who says if you do that, 5 years from now or 10 years from now, we have enough so we're taking possibly students away from our district. Well, now it's very almost detrimental to our district to do that. So just my 2 cents.
And financially, we get it based on attracting and retaining students for our school,
Right.
our academic learning.
Yep. So, further discussion. There is a motion and a second to approve the denial for the co-op request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That action item carries. Go back to my agenda here. Moving on to discussion items. First reading of revised policies. Dr. Kiergaard.
Well, there are 2 board policies in your packet, and they are, if I could open them, I'd read them to you. They are student activity accounting, disposition of obsolete equipment, materials. The board policy committee has reviewed them. This is the first reading. It will come back again in a month. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me, and then they will be approved next month.
I didn't see them in the packet.
They were supposed to be there. I was trying to open
Did
mine.
anyone
too.
else?
I was hoping mine were messed up. We'll send them to you.
Thank you.
It's at least another month before you.
Right,
so
exactly.
We'll get them to you. Sorry about that. Thought maybe it was only mine that were messed up.